Emma Claire knew the look of betrayal before it destroyed everything. She'd learned to read it in the way her younger sister smiled too brightly at family dinners. The way her fiancé's phone calls became secretive. The silence that fell when she entered rooms where they'd been laughing together. 6 months ago, she'd discovered them. Her sister Sophie and her fiancé James. In bed. In the apartment Emma paid for. The wedding invitation had arrived 3 weeks later. Pale pink with gold lettering. Sophie Claire and James Sullivan request your presence. She hadn't planned to work their honeymoon flight. Hadn't even known they'd booked it. But when she saw the passenger manifest for Chicago to Maldives, saw their names together in row 24, something inside her went cold and quiet. They'd stolen her future. Now she'd serve them champagne at 30,000 feet while they flew to paradise on what should have been her honeymoon. But what Emma didn't know, as she prepared the first-class cabin that morning, was that James's father, the powerful, dangerous man who'd refused to attend the wedding, was sitting in seat 1A. And when Dante Sullivan looked up from his newspaper and recognized his son's former fiancée in a flight attendant uniform, everything changed. Before we continue, if you love stories of family betrayal turned into unexpected romance, sisters who cross unforgivable lines, and powerful men who see what others missed, you're in the right place. Hit that subscribe button and don't forget to like this video. It helps us bring you more stories of revenge that become something deeper. Now, let's return to Emma's impossible situation. The morning started like any other. Alarm at 4 a.m. Shower. Navy uniform pressed perfectly. Hair twisted into the regulation bun. Makeup subtle but flawless. The armor I wore to face the world. I'd been flying for 8 years. Worked my way from economy to first class, from domestic to international routes. Built a career I was proud of. A life that was mine. Then Sophie happened. Then James happened. Then everything I'd built felt like sand slipping through my fingers. You okay? Monica, my colleague, asked as we prepared the first-class cabin. You've been quiet all morning. Just tired, I lied, arranging champagne flutes with mechanical precision. The truth? I'd barely slept in 6 months. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw them together. Heard Sophie's laugh. Felt the shattering of trust that never quite healed. Passenger manifest for today? I asked, though I'd already memorized every name. Monica scrolled her tablet. Light load in first. Only 3 passengers. Businessmen in 1A, couple in 5A and 5B, and economy is. I know who's in economy. The words came out harder than intended. She looked up, concerned. Emma? My sister. And my ex-fiancé. Honeymoon flight. Monica's face went pale. Oh my God. Did you request this route? No. Just cosmic irony. I forced a smile. It's fine. I'm professional. I can handle serving them for 12 hours. You shouldn't have to. Let me talk to the supervisor, get you reassigned. No. I couldn't show weakness. Couldn't let them think they'd broken me. I've got this. Boarding began. I stood at the aircraft door with my professional smile, greeting passengers, directing them to seats. First class boarded first. A businessman in an expensive suit, late 50s, moved with the kind of quiet power that made people step aside instinctively. Dark hair touched with silver. Sharp features that might have been handsome if they weren't so cold. Eyes that missed nothing. He paused when he saw me. Really saw me. His expression shifted, surprise, then something calculating. Welcome aboard, sir. May I see your boarding pass? He handed it over without speaking. Seat 1A. Right this way, Mr. Sullivan. His head snapped up. You know my name. It's on your boarding pass, sir. But my voice wavered. Sullivan. James's last name. This was his father. Recognition dawned in his eyes. You're Emma. Not a question. A statement. Yes, sir. James is Emma. The one before. He didn't finish. Didn't need to. That's me. Though I'm not his anything anymore. I gestured toward his seat. Please, make yourself comfortable. May I offer you champagne or orange juice before departure? He settled into 1A, those dark eyes never leaving my face. Champagne. And Emma? Yes. I didn't attend the wedding. For what it's worth. The admission caught me off guard. That's your choice, sir. It was a statement. My son made a catastrophic mistake. He accepted the champagne I poured with shaking hands. One I suspect he'll regret for the rest of his life. Before I could respond, more passengers boarded. Including them. Sophie looked radiant in a white sundress, her blonde hair in perfect waves. James beside her in casual expensive clothing, his arm around her waist possessively. They walked past first class toward economy. Sophie saw me and her smile faltered. James's expression went carefully neutral. Emma, Sophie said, her voice too bright. I didn't know you were working this flight. Liar. She'd checked. She wanted this. Wanted to parade her victory. Small world, I managed. Congratulations on your marriage. Thank you. We're so excited for the Maldives. James has booked the most amazing resort. Seats 24A and 24B, I interrupted, unable to stomach her performance. Enjoy your flight. They moved past, and I felt Dante Sullivan's eyes on me. When I glanced at him, something like approval flickered across his face. Once we reached cruising altitude, I focused on first-class service. Anything to avoid walking through economy where they sat, probably whispering about me. Another champagne, Mr. Sullivan? Dante, he corrected. And yes, please. I poured carefully. Is there anything else I can get you, sir? Sit down for a moment. I really shouldn't. Please. Not a command, despite the authority in his voice. A request. I glanced around. The other first-class passengers were occupied. Monica was in the galley. I perched on the armrest of the empty seat across the aisle. How long ago? Dante asked quietly. 6 months. Since I found them together. And you were engaged to James? 3 years. We were supposed to get married last month. Same venue they used, actually. Same flowers. Same. I stopped, embarrassed by the bitterness in my voice. That's obscene. His jaw tightened. My son is a fool. But your sister? Family doesn't betray family like that. She's younger. Always wanted what I had. I just never thought she'd take everything. She didn't take everything. She took the trash. Dante's eyes held mine. And from where I'm sitting, you're the one who escaped. My son is weak. Always has been. Follows trends instead of forging his own path. Needs constant validation. You deserved better. The kindness in his voice, unexpected from this hard man, made my eyes burn with tears I refused to shed. I should get back to work. Emma. He caught my wrist gently as I stood. The touch sent electricity through me. When we land in the Maldives, I'm staying at the Velasara resort. If you have any layover time, if you need to talk or just not be alone, come find me. That's very kind, but I'm not being kind. I'm being honest. I'd like to know the woman my son was stupid enough to lose. I pulled my hand away carefully. I'll think about it. For the next 8 hours, I served passengers, brought meals, collected trash. All while feeling Dante's presence like gravity pulling at me. And all while avoiding economy as much as possible. I loved you. I did. But Sophie and we just connected. It wasn't planned. Betrayal never is. It just happens when people are too selfish to fight their impulses. I smiled my professional smile. Enjoy your honeymoon, James. I hope it's everything you deserve. I walked away before he could respond. In the galley, I pressed my palms against the counter, breathing deeply. That looked painful. Dante's voice startled me. He'd somehow appeared in the galley doorway. Are you all right? Fine. It's harder than I expected. Seeing them happy. Seeing them at all. Pretending I'm okay when I'm not. The admission slipped out before I could stop it. He moved closer, his presence filling the small galley space. You don't have to pretend. Not with me. I don't even know you. No. But I know what betrayal feels like. I know what it's like to smile while bleeding inside. His voice dropped lower. And I know what it's like to look at someone and see strength they don't recognize in themselves. Mr. Sullivan. Dante. Please. Dante, I appreciate the kindness, but I'm your son's ex-fiancé. This is complicated. Life is complicated. This? He gestured between us. This is simple. You're interesting. I'd like to know you better. Nothing inappropriate. Just conversation between two people who've been hurt by the same thoughtless children. The way he said it, not romantic, not predatory, just honest, made something in my chest ease. Conversation. That's all? Unless you want more. But that's entirely your decision. A slight smile touched his lips. I'm a patient man, Emma. I've built an empire on patience. We landed in the Maldives 12 hours after departure. Passengers deplaned, Dante first from first class, James and Sophie chattering excitedly from economy. I watched through the aircraft windows as they all entered the terminal. Separate lives, separate paths. My layover was 18 hours before the return flight. 18 hours in paradise, alone. Or, not alone. I checked into the crew hotel, a modest property near the airport. Showered off the flight. Changed into civilian clothes, a simple sundress I'd packed on impulse. Then I stood in my room, staring at the business card Dante had pressed into my hand as he deplaned. His private number in raised black letters. This is insane, I thought. He's my ex's father. He's probably dangerous. This is a terrible idea. I called anyway. He answered on the first ring. Emma. How did you know it was me? I was hoping. A pause. Are you free for dinner? Dante, I don't know if this is dinner. Conversation. Nothing more unless you decide otherwise. I promise you're completely safe. I'll even meet you in a public place if that makes you more comfortable. The sincerity in his voice decided it. Where? The restaurant at my resort. They have a terrace overlooking the water. It's beautiful at sunset. I'll take a taxi. I'll send a car. It's on my way. He gave me the details, then added softly, thank you for taking a chance on an old man's company. You're not old. 58 feels old when talking to a beautiful 32-year-old. I never told you my age. I asked James about you. Once. When you were engaged. He spoke about you like you were a convenience, not a treasure. That's when I knew he'd lose you. The car arrived an hour later. Sleek, expensive, driven by a professional who treated me like royalty. The resort was stunning, private villas over crystal water, white sand beaches, luxury beyond anything I'd experienced. Dante met me at the restaurant entrance. He'd changed into linen pants and a casual shirt, somehow looking both relaxed and powerful. Without the suit, I could see he was built solid, muscular despite his age. You came, he said, offering his arm. You sound surprised. Pleasantly surprised. I thought you might reconsider. He led me to a private table on the terrace. The sun was setting, painting the sky in oranges and purples. The ocean stretched endlessly, interrupted only by scattered islands. This is beautiful, I breathed. It pales next to you. I laughed despite myself. Does that line usually work? I don't usually use lines. But with you, I find myself saying things I normally wouldn't. He poured wine, expensive and smooth. Tell me about yourself, Emma. The real you, not the flight attendant uniform. So I did. Over dinner, fresh seafood and local specialties, I told him about growing up with Sophie, always the responsible older sister. About my parents who'd passed away years ago in a car accident. About building my career from nothing. About dreams of maybe opening a small cafe someday when I was done flying. And he listened. Really listened. Not just waiting for his turn to talk, but engaged, asking questions, remembering details. Now you, I said as we finished dessert. Tell me about Dante Sullivan, beyond being James's father. His expression darkened slightly. What did James tell you about me? Just that you were in import-export business and that you were intense. Import-export. He laughed without humor. That's diplomatic. My business exists in gray areas, Emma. Not entirely legal, not entirely illegal. I move things, facilitate deals, solve problems that people in power need solved quietly. Some call it organized crime. I call it providing services the market demands. You're telling me you're a criminal? I'm telling you I'm powerful. And that power came from being willing to do things others wouldn't. I've hurt people. Made choices I'm not proud of. But I've also built something that will last. And I protect what's mine absolutely. I should have been frightened. Should have excused myself and fled. Instead, I found his honesty refreshing after James's constant lies. Why tell me this? Most people would hide that. Because I respect you enough to let you make an informed choice about whether you want me in your life. He met my eyes steadily. And because I'm too old to play games. If we're going to know each other, Emma, it will be with complete honesty. We barely know each other. Then let me take you to dinner tomorrow. And the next day. However long you're here. Let me show you that not all Sullivans are thoughtless boys who don't recognize treasure when they hold it. You're very confident. I'm very interested. There's a difference. We talked until the restaurant closed. About everything and nothing. He told me about building his empire from a small territory in Chicago. About losing his wife, James's mother, to cancer 10 years ago. About watching his son become someone he didn't respect. James was always soft, Dante said as we walked along the beach afterward, shoes in hand. His mother coddled him. I tried to toughen him up, but after she died, he just gave up on becoming a man. Drifted. Made easy choices. And apparently, easy choices include betraying a woman like you for your sister. Sophie's beautiful. Sophie's pretty. You're beautiful. There's a difference. One fades. The other doesn't. He walked me to my hotel. At the entrance, he took my hand formally. Thank you for tonight. For trusting me enough to come. Thank you for seeing me. When everyone else just sees the uniform or the betrayed ex-fiancé. I see Emma. Strong, resilient, deserving of everything good. He lifted my hand, pressed his lips to my knuckles in an old-fashioned gesture. Sleep well. If you're free tomorrow, call me. Then he was gone, disappearing into a waiting car, leaving me standing there with my heart racing in a way it hadn't since before everything fell apart. I called him the next morning. And the day after. My 18-hour layover turned into 3 days of stolen time as I called in and requested personal days, something I never did. Dante showed me the Maldives. Not tourist traps, but hidden beaches. Local restaurants. Sunrise swims and sunset boat rides. We talked constantly, about life, dreams, regrets, hopes. And slowly, inevitably, I fell. Not because he was wealthy, though the luxury was intoxicating after years of budget living. Not because he was handsome, though at 58 he was devastating in ways James never would be. But because he saw me. Really saw me. And liked what he saw. On the third evening, we were having dinner at his villa. A private chef had prepared an incredible meal. We sat on his terrace overlooking private beach, wine flowing, conversation easy. "I have to fly back tomorrow," I said quietly. "Reality calls." "Then extend again. Take a week." "I can't. I have bills, responsibilities. I'll cover them." "Stay. Please." "Dante, I can't let you." He reached across the table, covering my hand with his. "Emma, I'm 58 years old. I've built everything I wanted professionally. Had love once and lost it. Thought I'd spend the rest of my life alone, focused on business. And then I saw you on that flight, recognized you from James's photos, and something in me woke up after 10 years of sleeping. That's the wine talking. That's truth talking. I want you to stay. Not as a guest. Not as an obligation. But because you want to. Because these 3 days have been the best I've had in a decade. Because I think you feel it too." I did. God help me, I did. "Your son. My son threw you away. He has no claim on you, no say in your life. And frankly, I don't care what James thinks. He lost the right to my consideration when he betrayed you. People will talk. About the age gap. About me being his ex. About. Let them talk. I stopped caring about other people's opinions 30 years ago." He stood, walked around the table, and pulled me gently to my feet. This close, I could smell his cologne, feel the warmth radiating from him. "Emma, I'm not going to pretend this is simple. I'm not going to lie and say there won't be complications. But I am going to tell you that I haven't felt this alive, this interested, this hopeful about anything in years. And if you walk away tomorrow, I'll respect that. But if you stay..." His hand cupped my face gently. "If you stay, I'll spend every day proving you made the right choice." "I'm scared." "Good. That means it matters. That means it's real." Then he kissed me. Soft, careful, asking permission even as he claimed it. And I kissed him back, tasting wine and possibility and the future I hadn't planned but suddenly wanted desperately. I stayed. Not just that week, but the next. I quit my job via email, burning bridges I'd spent years building. Moved into Dante's villa. Let him buy me clothes, jewelry, everything I needed. And slowly, the guilt faded. Because this wasn't revenge. This was something real. We kept it quiet at first. Private. Our secret against the world. But eventually, inevitably, James found out. He called, furious. "You're sleeping with my father?" "My father? I'm in a relationship with Dante, yes. Not that it's your business. It's absolutely my business. He's my dad, you're my ex. I'm the woman you betrayed with my sister. The woman you threw away. Now Dante sees what you missed. That's not my problem, James. That's yours." Sophie's devastated. Sophie made her choice. She can live with the consequences. 3 months later, Dante took me to Chicago. To his world. Introduced me to his associates, his businesses. The dangerous, powerful world he inhabited. Some looked at me with curiosity. Others with judgment. But with Dante's hand at my back, his absolute confidence surrounding me like armor, I didn't care. At a restaurant one night, we ran into them. James and Sophie, having dinner like a normal couple. They saw us. Sophie's face went white. James's expression twisted with something ugly. Dante didn't flinch. Simply nodded acknowledgement and guided me to our table on the opposite side of the restaurant. "Do you want to leave?" I asked quietly. Why would I leave? I have nothing to be ashamed of. He lifted my hand, kissed it in front of everyone. I'm with the woman I want. Let him stew in his choices. Later, James approached our table. Sophie stayed behind, staring at her plate. Dad, can we talk? Privately? No. Whatever you have to say, you can say in front of Emma. This is wrong. You know it is. She was mine. She was never yours. You possessed her for a time, but you never valued her. Never deserved her. And then you threw her away for easy pleasure with her sister. So don't stand there and lecture me about what's wrong, boy. I'm your son. You're a disappointment. One I've tried to fix for 35 years. Emma is more of a partner, more of a companion, more of everything than you ever were. Now go back to your table. You're embarrassing yourself. James left, defeated. And I realized something important. Dante would always choose me. Not out of spite toward his son, but because he genuinely valued me more. 6 months after that first flight, Dante proposed. Not with a huge public display, but privately. In our bedroom. After making love slowly, carefully, like he always did. Marry me, he said simply. Not to hurt James. Not to get revenge on Sophie. But because I love you. Because you make me better. Because at 58 I found something I thought I'd never have again, a partner who sees all of me and stays anyway. I said yes. The wedding was small. Private. Just us and a handful of Dante's closest associates. James didn't come. Sophie sent a card, I'm sorry, in her handwriting, like that could fix anything. On our wedding night, in a villa in Tuscany where Dante owned property, he pulled me onto the terrace overlooking vineyards. Happy? Deliriously. Still can't believe this is my life. Get used to it. You're Mrs. Sullivan now. Everything I have is yours. I don't need your money, Dante. I never did. I know. That's why I give it freely. He turned me to face him. Do you ever regret it? Leaving your career, burning bridges, choosing me? Never. Not for a second. Even knowing people call you a gold digger? Say you're with me for money? Let them. I know the truth. I'm with you because you see me. Because you make me feel valued. Because you're powerful and dangerous and absolutely devoted. I traced his jaw. And because you're the best thing that ever happened to me, even if it started in the worst way. My son's loss. My gain. We went inside. Made love surrounded by Italian luxury. And I didn't think about James or Sophie or the life I'd left behind. Only the future stretching ahead, complicated, unconventional, but utterly mine. A year into our marriage, I was shopping in Chicago when I ran into Sophie. She looked tired, older somehow. The shine had worn off her stolen happiness. Emma. She stopped, uncertain. Sophie. Can we talk? Please? Against my better judgment, I agreed. We sat in a coffee shop, strangers who shared DNA. James and I are getting divorced, she said quietly. He's not who I thought he was. Turns out he was cheating on me too. With a girl from his office. I should have felt vindicated. Satisfied. Instead, I just felt tired. I'm sorry you're hurting. You're not going to say I deserved it? I don't need to. You already know. She started crying. Ugly, genuine tears. I was jealous. Of everything you had. Your confidence, your success, your perfect fiancé. I wanted to prove I could take it. But all I did was destroy us both. You destroyed our relationship. But you didn't destroy me. If anything, you freed me. I stood. I hope you find what you're looking for, Sophie. Just maybe look for it somewhere that doesn't belong to someone else. I left her there, crying into her latte. Told Dante about it that night. How do you feel? He asked. Grateful. If she hadn't betrayed me, I'd have married James. Would have spent my life with someone who didn't really see me. Instead, I'm here. With you. Living a life I never imagined. The universe works in strange ways. It does. It gave me betrayal, then gave me you. I'd take that trade every time. 2 years into our marriage, I opened my cafe. A small place in downtown Chicago, elegant but welcoming. Dante insisted on funding it, though I'd tried to refuse. Let me give you this, he'd said. Let me be part of your dreams. The cafe thrived. I worked there most days, leaving the flying life completely behind. Built something mine, with Dante's support, but my vision, my effort. James came by once. Alone. Looking rough around the edges. Nice place, he said, sitting at the bar. What do you want, James? To apologize. For everything. You were right. Sophie and I, it was a mistake. We were both looking for something that wasn't there. I know. And you and Dad, he's happy. First time since Mom died, he's actually happy. So I guess. I'm glad for you both. Even if it's weird as hell. Your blessing isn't required. But thank you anyway. He left. We never spoke again. Dante and I fell into rhythms. He ran his empire, though he was stepping back gradually, grooming successors. I ran my cafe. We traveled, Italy, Greece, Japan. Saw the world together. And at night, we'd sit on our terrace overlooking the city, and he'd tell me about his day while I told him about mine. Partnership in the truest sense. Do you miss flying? He asked one evening. Sometimes. I miss the travel, the adventure. But I don't miss the life. The loneliness. The feeling of passing through places without ever really belonging anywhere. And now? Now I belong. With you. In this life we built. It's not what I planned. But it's perfect. He pulled me closer. You know I love you, right? Not because you're young or beautiful or because taking you from my son satisfied some petty revenge. But because you make life worth living again. Because you challenged me to be better. Because you're my partner in everything. I know. I love you too. Even when people don't understand. Even when they judge. I don't care. This is ours. 5 years after that honeymoon flight, I threw a party at our penthouse. The cafe's 5th anniversary. Friends, staff, some of Dante's associates. A celebration of success built from betrayal's ashes. Looking around the room, at the life I'd created, the man who stood proudly beside me, the future stretching bright and unknown ahead, I realized something profound. Sophie and James had tried to destroy me. Had taken what they thought was everything. But really, they'd only taken the pieces that didn't matter. The real treasure, strength, resilience, the ability to rebuild and thrive, they couldn't touch. And now I had something they'd never understand, real love with a man who saw my worth and fought to keep it. A partnership built on honesty and respect. A life that was mine, entirely mine, earned through survival and courage. Dante found me on the terrace, away from the party. Hiding from your own celebration? Just thinking. About how far I've come. From that airplane, serving them, broken and lost. To here. This. Us. He wrapped his arms around me from behind. You were never broken. Just bent. And you straightened yourself. I just held space while you did. You did more than that. You showed me I was worth more than I believed. You always were. I just had the privilege of being the one to prove it. The party continued inside. Music, laughter, clinking glasses. But we stood together in the cool evening air, two people who'd found each other through pain and turned it into something beautiful. No regrets? I asked. Not a single one. You? Only that I wasted 3 years with James when I could have been finding you. He laughed. You had to go through him to get to me. The universe works in strange ways, remember? I remember. I remember everything. The first time you looked at me on that plane. The first dinner. The first kiss. All of it leading here. To forever, he murmured against my hair. Because I'm not letting you go, Emma Sullivan. Not for anything. Good. Because I'm not going anywhere. This is home. Your home. We went back inside together. To the party, to our life, to the future we'd built from the wreckage of betrayal. And I realized that sometimes the worst thing that happens to you leads directly to the best thing. Sophie took my fiancé. But in doing so, she gave me something infinitely better, a man who saw my worth, fought for it, and built a kingdom with me at his side. That was a trade I'd make every single time. The honeymoon flight had been the beginning of my worst nightmare. But it was also the beginning of my greatest love story. And looking at Dante, at the life we'd created, at the woman I'd become through surviving and thriving, I wouldn't change a single moment. Not even the betrayal. Because it led me here. Home. Finally, completely home.